Think about the last time you were completely alone in your house late at night. For Olivia, the bathroom mirror represents a baseline of absolute safety. In this quiet room, a minor flicker of an overhead bulb is easily ignored. She's tired and distracted. She leans in to inspect her face, raising a slightly trembling hand to rub her eyes. But the mirror breaks the primary rule of physics. Olivia's hand goes up, and her reflection waits. A full, impossible second passes before the figure in the glass finally mimics the gesture. The human brain works incredibly hard to protect us from the impossible. Olivia forces out a nervous laugh, actively telling herself it's an optical illusion caused by an exhausted mind. True psychological terror requires taking the space you trust most and quietly breaking its rules. Once your own perception becomes unreliable, the safety of your environment collapses completely. 24 hours later, logic takes over. Olivia writes off the delay as severe sleep deprivation and everyday stress. She approaches the glass again. She moves. It moves. Perfect symmetry. The tension leaves her shoulders, and she breathes a sigh of absolute relief. Then she turns to walk away. The reflection stays entirely still. It remains rooted in place, its eyes tracking her back as she heads for the door. The symmetry is gone. The entity has stopped imitating her and has begun watching her movements. The geometry of the room has flipped. Olivia is now the one being observed through the glass by something on the other side. The environment shifts. After a hot shower, thick steam coats the cold glass, leaving a completely undisturbed layer of condensation. Without warning, the fog begins to part. Deep, jagged lines are carved directly into the moisture by unseen fingers moving on the other side of the glass. Two specific phrases emerge slowly from the steam: "Don't trust him," and "tomorrow." Olivia stares at the glass, her arms rigidly frozen at her sides. Inside the mirror, her duplicate's hand continues to write, moving with deliberate, terrifying purpose. A visual glitch can be ignored, but physical writing suggests a second awareness. Olivia is no longer alone with her thoughts. She is receiving messages from a witness to her life. The sun comes up, and the horror of the night evaporates into the stark, bright normalcy of a typical morning. Her phone rings. It's Jake, her boyfriend, calling with a cheerful, entirely ordinary invitation to grab dinner that night. The caller ID flashes, and Olivia freezes. The warning carved into the steam replays instantly in her mind. But the pull of a normal life is incredibly strong. She stammers out a hesitant agreement, desperate to cling to routine and ignore the impossible warning she saw in the dark. Human routine is resilient. Even with a warning written in the steam, it's easier to get in the car and pretend everything is fine than to admit the world has changed. That normalcy shatters inside Jake's car. The space is dark and claustrophobic, the black silhouettes of trees rushing violently past the passenger window. Jake is dead silent. His expression is entirely cold, his knuckles turning white as he grips the steering wheel. The car slams to a halt. Jake turns his head slowly and asks a single question. "You saw it, didn't you?" Back at the house, the empty bathroom mirror shows a final scene. Olivia's reflection stands alone in the frame, drenched in crimson blood, wearing a soft smile. The reflection told the truth, but it told it too late. Sometimes the version of ourselves in the glass sees the disaster before we have the courage to believe it.